Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Jack Oates to go. You either know or you don't. Thank you guys for clicking on whatever you clicked on to watch this video. Appreciate it. Hopefully you like it. On my way to 3.5k by the subs by the end of November. So if you could help me out, if you like the content on this channel, you're like a few videos in, like, all right, this guy's kind of cool, hit the subscribe button. And if you don't like it later now, just unsubscribe, I guess. I don't know how you guys work, but I'd rather you subscribe when you know for sure, like, all right, I'm going to stick around. Because this guy, he's all right. He's all right. He's annoying, but he's okay. Yeah, that's subscribe worthy, I feel like. So if you are already subscribed and you happen to like this video, please do click the like button to help out the channel and the road to 3.5k. But I'm done talking about that. Let's talk about devils. So, today we're going to go over the fourth Qlipha of the Draconian Path, which is the Qlipha of Battle. And this is called Zaraq, and it is ruled by Baal. So, let's just start. Zaraq is the outermost astral level on the night side of the Kabbalistic tree. Neztak is the bright counterpart of this Qlipha. Now, for context, Neztak was ruled over by... Oh, I forgot his elf's name, but it was Gaush's elf. He was on the throne of Neztak, or Netzak, excuse me. Netzak is the bright counterpart of this Qlipha. Netzak means victory, and victory is a pivotal aspect also to its dark antipole. Zaraq represents battle, and its forces are invoked by the dark magician for victories in the battles of life. War gods like Odin and Baal, in their more demonic forms, are associated with this fear. In the Kabbalah, Baal is viewed as the demon ruler of Zaraq. Now, to go back a little bit, Carlson says war gods like Odin and Baal, in their more demonic forms, are associated with this fear. Now, he says that for a couple reasons. Now, in the other book that I will also be probably reading to you guys on the channel, talks about how there are Norse elements to what is called the Gothic Kabbalah, which places some of those deities within the Qlipha. Odin is in there, as well as some other guys I can't think of right now. I don't know why. But they are specifically placed on certain parts of the Qlipha. And I think I've told you guys before on Twitter and in some of my other theory videos, that one of the first sentences in that book is that he mentions Odin specifically. By no means is Odin a messiah or a savior. He is more so a devil in the way he operated. So if you look at Norse and Greek lore, Roman lore, a lot of those gods don't act benevolent by any means. They are kind of shady and do a lot of things to screw each other over, as well as humans. So they don't necessarily... There's just kind of this... There's a lot of vagueness in a lot of descriptions of almost any being in Norse mythology. And you really have to bring it down to, like, okay, was this person good or bad? We have to look at what they did. And guys like Zeus were almost anything but good. Or how you would describe a benevolent god, at least. So it's just interesting to look at, and Carlson really drives it home and puts it into perspective. It's really cool. But also, off of Odin, Baal, as he mentions in his more demonic form, Baal was one of the original, I believe, Canaanite or Babylonian gods. So he was like one of the first to ever be worshipped. But somehow along the way, when these Canaanite gods somehow end up falling, they never really explain how. Because remember, Moloch is also a Canaanite god. And whether it's just a matter of, like, these new, like, fallen angels came and fell, created the underworld, and they just ended up going with them somehow. They never really truly explain what happens. So it's very odd, and it might just be the fact that more Romanized cultures came into play, so they're like, okay, this is definitely not God-worthy. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing worshiping this, but we have better ones. So maybe that's something that happened. But yeah, like I said, they never really truly mention how these former gods just fell. But anyway, The symbol of Netzach is the dove, which corresponds to love, purity, and peace. The raven is the symbol of Arab Zaraq. Arab Zaraq means the ravens of dispersion. The raven is the black counterpart of the dove and represents war and storm, but also passion, sin, and forbidden wisdom. It lives off the dead on the battlefield and is the free spirit of death. The raven is also the talking bird that brings messages and prophecies, the free consciousness of the magician dispersing like the ravens of Odin to collect knowledge and wisdom. Now, this is referring to Hugin and Munin. I forget which one is the black raven, but as you can see, this is where he's drawing that parallel. Now, something that I've had on my mind for a while is that Baal could potentially be... Now, this is crazy, and I don't mind if you guys don't agree with this one, but I just thought it'd be kind of cool to think of Baal as the Witch Queen's husband, and she's a widow. And this is why she has so much knowledge, and why she uses ravens to go from point A to point B. So I thought it was cool. And it's interesting that it says it lives off the dead on the battlefield and is the free spirit of death. And the Witch Queen pretty much resembles death. She uses a blood scythe, a blood curse scythe, and all that stuff. I mean, it just seems like it'd be kind of cool to have the Witch Queen, her husband, end up being a devil, and this is why she knows the things that she does know, and all that. But anyway, to go on. The raven corresponds to the soul of the magician when it flies in ecstasy, the result of meeting between life and death that takes place in the Qliphotic initiation. Now, we went over Lilith in the Qlipha Lilith and Lilith in Gamaliel, where we talk about ecstasy, sex, and all that stuff is the main proportion into the initial initiation of a mage looking to descend down this path. Now, to bring it back to like my thought on the Witch Queen, she uses blood. This is an initiatory substance used to meet Lilith in her other forms, and this is especially for women in general. So a witch, to have blood magic and then to have this curse magic on top of it, which in other theories I have Magicula being the third form of Lilith, to use this curse magic when Magicula is the mother or the parent of all curses. It just seems to fit kind of well for me. But using the ravens, meaning that her consort might have been Baal. Who knows? We'll see. But it was the blood being the meeting between life and death. That is exactly what blood is. It's representative of both life and death. So it's good, and it also kind of depicts her potential role as one of the three sisters of fate, with Vanessa, potentially Grey, and potentially the Witch Queen. Her being, I believe it's Atropos, being the one who cuts the thread of fate, meaning this is the one who dictates death and the matter and how they die. To keep going, by passing through a symbolic death, the magician no longer fears death and in the same moment learns how to live. This is just the path of the warrior, right? The initiation of death is begun on this Qlipha and is fulfilled by the black illumination onto Girion. The raven flies through the black sea of nightmares that is Paraketh, the veil that separates the astral plane from the mental. Now, I've described this in other videos. There are 3 veils within the Qlipha that a mage must pass, and upon meeting these veils, they lose more of themselves. The 3rd veil is Dot. That is the abyss. They call these other ones the mini abyss, which is self-explanatory, I feel like. Zaraq is the last outpost of the astral plane. This is the sphere of dark emotions. Here we can find storms of forbidden feelings and obscure instincts. The magician encounters explosive creative expressions. Zaraq is associated with art and music. This is the sphere of the romanticist and the romanticist and the Sturm and Drang poet. One might easily perish if one is not focused on the goal on the Tigurian Qlipha, and if one does not follow the journey of the raven to the black sun. On Zaraq, the magician passes through the black baptism. The dove from Netzach appears in the baptism of Jesus or other adepts of the light tradition, but in the baptism of a dark magician, the raven appears instead. On Zaraq, a flood arises that drowns the old world so that a new world can be created. The magician goes through the Negredo phase in alchemy, where he passes away from the old world. After the black baptism, the magician, similar to a pilgrim on the left-hand path. It's funny that he calls him a pilgrim. I've never heard of that. This pilgrim leaves everything behind that is not within the frames of the magical path. Zaraq is the bird that leaves the egg behind to fly to Tigurian and the mental level. Hermann Hesse, sorry, I got alcohol in the brain. Hermann Hesse describes this process in his book, Damien. Now, I just want to say where it says that the magician leaves everything behind that is not within the frames of the magical path. Zaraq is the bird that leaves the egg behind to fly to Tigurian. This is what happens to Griffith as he becomes Femto in Berserk. This is what he's experiencing right now. And they perfectly paints that. So Mira did a really good job depicting that. But anyway, Herman says this in his book. The bird breaks out of the egg. The egg is the world. To be born, one must crush a world into dust. The bird flies to God. The god is Abraxas. Now, Abraxas is a demon, but also has been consorted to kind of a neutral, more so guardian on both the light and dark realm. But again, this perfectly describes what happens to Griffith for any Berserk fans out there. That's exactly what he does. The pure white Venus belongs to Netzach, and the black Venus corresponds to Zaraq. The black Venus is called Venus Illegitima, and it is the goddess of perversions. Her love is sterile on the mundane earth level, but is fertile inside the magician and on higher levels. Through her, the magician can be born into the higher worlds. The magician is born as his own child and becomes one with his higher self, or daemon. The Venus Illegitima is the mother of this daemon. Demonic offspring are created by sexual unity between earth and spirit beings. The Nephilim of the Bible, the bastards, were born from the meeting between the sons of heaven and the daughters of earth. The magician's higher self, or daemon, belongs to the next level. Now this is where it kind of gets cool. So this perfectly describes Asta and devil union and all that good stuff. So remember, they're going through Negredo phase. I really lay this out on Twitter. Maybe I'll post the link in the comment section and pin it so you guys can see. But there's 3 phases. Well, technically 4, but 3 main ones. You have the black phase, I believe it's the white phase, and then the red phase. Red being closest to divinity. Now, they say the magician is born as his own child. Now, this is one of the main parts of the Draconian path. As you reach the end, you have the option to going back to the singular god, which doesn't make any sense because if you just took I put easier in quotes, but the easier path, meaning you're facing the angels, you would get that option. So you would only descend down this path to become a god yourself. But you do get the option to become part of the singular god or become a god on your own. Now, becoming god on your own means that you are dividing yourself into 2. And you have to die, as we stated in the first 2 initiatory Qliphas with Liliths. You must die and get reborn through Lilith. Now, what is mentioned here is that the magician is born as his own child and becomes one with his higher self, or the daemon. Now, this is why I don't have necessarily so while Lacita is more than likely Asta's mother, I do mention in some theory videos and on Twitter how Asta is like his own father. Because he, in my theory, he's already had this in a past life somehow, that he successfully treaded the Draconian path, and this is his next life where he is reborn. However, he is split into two, and that is Asta and Liabe. And he becomes one with his higher self, or daemon, that part. Of course, Liabe being the daemon here, and Asta possibly being the higher self in the physical realm. And they call Venus illegitima. Now, remember that we have this whole spiel, a whole video as well, on how the symbol on Devil Union Asta's chest, the black one, not the small black one, not the light one on the outside of it, corresponds to Venus and him possibly being the morning star. So they call it Venus illegitima, and this is just the Negredo phase of it. So I think it really almost perfectly depicts what we see with Asta and his Devil Union. But anyway, to finish this up, demonic offspring are created by sexual unity between earth and spirit beings. The Nephilim of the Bible, the bastards, were born from the meeting between the sons of heaven and the daughters of earth, which is Lilith and Nama and Aisha. The magician's higher self or daemon belongs to the next level, which is Tigirian, which we'll get into. This is going to be one of the bigger videos, of course. Starting from here to the next ones, there's no telling how long those are going to be, because those are some very pivotal stages that we're about to hit, and it's about to get wildly crazy. So I hope you guys like this. I don't necessarily like the idea of Baal being released on this third gate. That's where he would be, is the third gate in Black Clover. Now I've heard from people that, you know, they like the idea of Baal coming out, and like I said, this is the Qlipha of battle, and they want him to be some kind of like blacksmith or swordsmith maybe, and this would explain where Asta gets his swords. And I think that's kind of cool, as long as like they tie the swords into that. However, Baal, in just strictly lore wise, doesn't have much going for him. It doesn't really make sense why he's there. On Crowley's Qlipha, however, Zaraq is ruled over by Asmodeus, which is described in this book, and I'll just save time on this video by just going over it when we get there. But I believe Asmodeus is a much better fit than Baal. But we'll definitely see then, for sure, what Qlipha we're going for with Tabata. But it would be a nice and honorable mention, maybe as a high-level devil, that Baal comes out. Because even though, like I said, Baal doesn't have much lore on him, there's enough to make a story off of. I did describe in my Qlipha Explained videos that Baal was pretty much the first prince of hell, and somehow he got there first before all of them. So that's why he is where he's at, why he's like so low. It's because the tree never grew beyond him. He was the top at a point, but then some stronger guys came and fell and all that good stuff, and he ended up near the bottom, so, or the top rather. So I like I said, I personally just don't like the lore on Baal, and how it really, to me, it just doesn't fit with Black Clover. But knowing Tabata, if he puts it in, he'd make it work. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, hope you guys liked this video. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, concerns, death threats in the comment section below or on Twitter. Again, it'd be awesome if you guys could help me out on my road to 3.5K by the end of November. So hit that subscribe button if you've gone a few videos in and you like what you hear. Stay tuned for some new stuff on this channel. Still just getting some things in order, and you guys should have some pretty cool content up here. Thank you guys for being so patient with me with the developments on this channel and with my crackhead theories and all this stuff. So you guys are goats. Just keep being you. You guys are great. So anyway, you guys, I will see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay out the way. This has been Jack Oats to Go. You either know or you don't.